welcome to the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast. I'm your co-host, Erin-Coiffel-Barker. You see my fellow co-host, Joe Sinagra of Myers Containers. We're really excited to continue our conversations about Myers Container Services, a family-owned and operated business here in Vermont that really just cares about its community. Joe, what's been going on since I saw you last week?
Well, a lot of things here at Myers, of course. We thought the weather was changing and a lot of our drivers were excited, and then we went right back into the snow. So we're dealing with that, but with a little sunnier weather now, hopefully we're going to take the turn. I think we all want that. So, but I did have a question for you, Erin, because you have a little more experience than I on this subject. I recently moved for the first time in 21 years. So I remember when I was a younger person, before I was happily married, you would break up with a girlfriend, or you're interested in somebody, you drive by your house, to see what's going on. So I found myself this week in my old town, and I couldn't help but drive by my old house.
Yeah.
And I know you've moved a few times. So my question is, how long does this happen? How long will I expect to drive past it? And the other thing is, I really don't know what I was looking to get out of it. I mean, if I drove by and the house was all of a sudden purple, I don't
like you were just feeling nostalgic, and so you went, or you happened to be in town?
I happened to be in town, so I made a little detour and I drove by, but it's like driving by the ex-girlfriend's house. What do I expect to see?
Yeah, well, you lived there for that was the house, right?
21
raised
years.
The kids there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's going to go away, because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't drive by my condo before this one very much. We did when we first moved and it went away. But my parents recently sold their house in Connecticut, and that's where I grew up. The first 39 years of my life, they owned it, and it's all the way in Connecticut. And whenever we go back to town, it's we got to drive by to see what's going on, and then maybe be a little judgy about things they've done. So normal, right? Maybe be a little envious about things they've done. Or in my instance, it was my parents never would have done solar panels on the roof. And maybe you come up with some stuff, but I don't think it's going to go away.
Now, did you knock on the door at your parents' old house?
No, I did not. Did you?
I did that.
Had you met them at the closing or no?
No. So after my parents passed away, the 4 kids inherited the house, and my brother handled everything. So at the closing, it was just done all remotely. Yeah. So I never met them. So I happened to be in my hometown, and same thing. I drove by, and I'm like, why would you put a fence up? That's stupid. So I'm like, I got to knock on the door and say hello, which I can assume some big Italian guy knocking on your door in the middle of the day, I'm sure.
But they were cool.
No alarms.
Yeah. They were cool. I think Miranda Lambert writes a song about this called "The House That Built Me," where she goes back to the home and goes in. But so what about the home you just got rid of? Do you know the people who live there now? Would they be cool if you're hey, it's Joe, can I just have a beer out back this summer? I kind of miss it.
No, what's interesting is my home was your typical Vermont family house, neighborhood, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, very neighborhood, family driven. So we really thought the new owners would be similar. Turns out it's a single woman who just got a job at the hospital, and she's living there, which fantastic. I mean, her check cleared, so I don't really care. Yeah. So, it's great, but I think she wouldn't mind.
She probably wouldn't mind. I don't know. It's probably not going to go away for a long time.
Hopefully she doesn't find the note that I left behind the stove till later.
And that could be fun. Well, watch what I'm about to do. Speaking of homes, today's guest is from a very well-known name people will recognize. She is the executive director of the Ronald McDonald House in Burlington. We have Kristine Bickford with us. And before we go to Chris, a couple of things. So a part of this podcast is to tell everyone about Myers Containers, what they have going on, but they also do a lot of great stuff in the community. And so our plan is to bring in different guests to talk about some of the things, right? So we can toot the Myers horn, but these people can help us toot the Myers horn a little bit as well. And so we have Kristine Bickford today, but we actually have a pretty cool little video about the Ronald McDonald House that we're going to play, and then we can bring her in after it. But it'll just give everyone a nice summed up intro and explainer of what the Ronald McDonald House is all about.
Since 1984, Ronald McDonald House Charities of Burlington has provided a home away from home for families of hospitalized children. Located just 5 minutes from the University of Vermont Medical Center, Ronald McDonald House is a peaceful retreat with many comforts of home, serving families and caregivers who reside outside of Chittenden County. The moment you walk through the door, you'll find a welcoming home staffed around the clock to host you. You'll find quiet spaces inviting you to take a moment for yourself. You'll find privacy in one of our 8 bedrooms and a home-cooked dinner waiting for you each evening, prepared in our fully equipped kitchen. Ronald McDonald House has laundry facilities, Wi-Fi, and secure off-street parking. Children staying at Ronald McDonald House take full advantage of our under-the-sea playroom and outdoor playground. The founder of the first Ronald McDonald House, pediatric oncologist Dr. Audrey Evans, believed that a family with a sick child is a sick family. Our mission is to provide families and caregivers a place to recharge and support one another outside of the hospital setting while keeping them close to their child during treatment. With a referral from a hospital social worker or doctor's office, eligible families or caregivers can stay at Ronald McDonald House for the duration of their child's treatment, free of charge. We support you so your focus can be on your child when they need you the most. Ronald McDonald House Charities of Burlington. You bring the hope, we have the rest covered. For more information, go to rmhcvt.org.
Such a great video, such a great summary. I know. Kristine, which do you prefer?
So I'm really Chris. All of you would know me by Chris, but at the house they call me Kristine. It doesn't matter. Chris, Chrissy, okay. Kristine. Yeah.
Any of the above. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast and for giving us that great video. I think we're obviously going to talk about it, but I think it's a really great video that just kind of sums up what the Ronald McDonald House is here for and what it's all about.
It does. And I'm going to toot your horn right now. We'll start it off that way, toot toot, because that video that you just saw, that beautiful aquarium basement, that was funded by Myers Red Can family. So thank you. And it truly is, I mean, the kitchen is always, you know, the heart of the home and the nucleus of the home, but that is a gathering place down there. We actually have board meetings down there now. So thank you to Myers for that.
Yeah, Joe, tell us a little bit about that. What went behind you guys wanting to be a part of that?
Yeah, you know, so Jeff, when he started this company, really felt important to give back to the community as much as we can. And Jeff's son, Ken, was very involved in the house, and Jeff's ex-wife, Denise, served on the board for a number of years, might still be on the board. Mm-hmm. And Jeff always donated and gave trash service and things of that sort. And then a couple years ago, we were in visiting with Chris, and we were talking about kind of if you had a magic wand, what would be the first thing? And she showed us the basement, which was like any basement that, you know, a lot of people have. It was a little dark and didn't really function the way it wanted. And she said, you know, we would love to raise some funds for this. And we got back in the car, Jeff and I, and we're driving back to the office, and Jeff said, well, call Chris up and tell her, you know, whatever she needs, we'll do it. And I'm like, really, Jeff? Like, it's going to probably be a pretty big number. And he goes, no, we have to do it. We have to do it. And it exceeded anything that I think we ever expected. And they had a wonderful ribbon cutting, and it really is just a showcase. And we stopped in and visit with Chris, and just to see the joy on these kids and the parents that are, I mean, I know, Erin, you have children like I do, and I can't imagine what these families are going through. You know, knock on wood, I never had to go through anything remotely what these kids and parents have to go through. So, you know, make it a little more comfortable, to make it a little bit easier while they're here. It's just so important.
Well, and I think, Chris, as you said, you know, the kitchen, they always say, is the heart of the home, but the basement, to me, like, that's where all the fun and that's where all the memories happen. Like, yeah. and that might just be, I grew up in a home where the basement was, you know, our friends came over, oh, where's everybody? Oh, they're down in the basement. They're down in the basement. And so I feel like having that in the Ronald McDonald House, and that's like right? That's like the play, like that's kind of like the fun zone. And upstairs is, all business and there's a lot of love, but to know that's really the place to go and unwind and hang out is probably pretty great.
It really is a wonderful gathering space. It's also a place when there are a big group of children, we could say, go downstairs because you don't hear anything. Yeah. But it's also, you have to go through the basement to get to the laundry room. And it was dark and just a regular basement, as Joe said earlier. It had gray walls and there was just nothing redeeming. I had put a pool table down there, but that wasn't working. And I had this vision for years and years that I wanted to have this aquarium. The ceiling was low. I thought this would be a great space for that. And when Jeff said, I would love to fund a project, I said, I've got a project for you. So, it really just worked beautifully. And I remember at an open house, we had Jeff sitting downstairs. The basement had been completed and nobody knew, they weren't paying attention to him, but he was just sitting there and people were oohing and aahing about the basement. And I think that sort of was a testament to what we had done and to Jeff. That had to make him feel good to hear how much everybody was really appreciating the basement. And we do have other rooms, but that one there's a TV down there. And like I said, we have board meetings down there now. And it's just a happy place. And we have a scavenger hunt on the wall. So we have a list and the kids can find, the different items on the walls. So it's a good place.
Perfect. And so the basement, right, we've talked about, but just the house as a whole, how are things going? Are you full? Are you what's been going on lately?
Yeah, so I was just talking to a staff member this morning saying it ebbs and flows like anything. We have a waiting list. We have been very full since the end of last year, very long-term stays. So our average length of stay is 10 days, but we've had months. Once a family is in, they can stay for as long as they need. There's no end date on that time. So there's a lot of preemies. We call them micro preemies, where they're, you could just be like they're 1 pound, like you can barely, they fit in your hand. So those parents stay for a very long time. And so we have 8 rooms. We're full. We have a waiting list with people, eager to come. And last year we served over 97 families, and we that provided 1,400 nights. Overnight stays for families. And we really have figured out, it was not a statistic or data that we had provided in the past, but, we have a home for these people to come to. They have a bed, they have warm meals, they have us to support them, the staff, if they want to talk. But we've also saved last year, over $300,000, probably closer to $400,000 in expenses. And that means families don't have to travel back and forth, gas expenses, lodging, all of that. So we really are saving families, so much, not only money, but just anxiety, and when they really need it most. Because as you can imagine, the child, sometimes it's an emergency where the child, a mom's going into labor and the baby's born super early, or it could be an appendicitis, it could be broken legs, ski accidents, cancer. And so they're already dealing with so much. And, we all know there's so much going on in our lives and in the world. And so our number one priority is to give them a respite while they're here, to make sure they're comfortable, to make sure, they don't want for anything. And we have a new we found out that the hospital, we provide 3 meals a day, but they were taking the dinner meals and bringing them to the hospital. So we were a little short on dinner meals because we have guest chefs come in. So I got a grant, and we are providing lunches for families. And we're working with Great Harvest. If you know Great Harvest down on Pine Street, they're wonderful. So they're giving sandwiches at cost. And every Monday and Thursday, I pick up sandwiches and we put them in the refrigerator, and they have little bags. They could bring those sandwiches to the hospital as well, and chips and drinks. And so they don't have to buy the food up there, because at the hospital, only nursing moms can get a voucher to eat. So, we were really excited about that.